Hello everyone, this is Isaac aka Bra Ike. I'd like to welcome you to my new video cast. And the topic today is called 3 reasons why you should write your first book before you die. This is a self-publishing inspiration or invitation for proactive individuals. Anyone who is alive and are able to read and write should at least leave something behind, like a legacy, when they depart from this world. This topic is not about death and why you will die. It is all about your personal awareness to your existence and the most important role you have played or have yet to play or undermine in your life to deserve a publishing contract. A majority of us will never make an attempt to tell their story while alive and ticking, simply because they think writing a book needs a special talent or a magic wand to warrant receiving an accolade. This is not true. The myth that you need to be special or gifted is just another fallacy to make you think your story is less important to you or as potential readers of your benevolent tale. However, writing a book is nowhere difficult than it is learning a new skill. Just like riding a bicycle or learning how to drive or cook a delicious family meal. Everything in life is and has a learning curve, and acquiring new skills requires a little more effort and time before one can master it as an art. Yes, of course, some people are more gifted and talented in writing excellent stories and successful books than others. But this depends on which book genre one needs to exploit to discover their true calling. Or we can debate this issue to try and find an excuse why you can't write, which leaves you with one option. Pretend you are not alive and history will not remember who you were amongst people who walked this earth. Any person willing to try writing as a career or hobby can become a successful full-time, well-paid, reputable author if given a chance and the opportunity to try it out without being judgmental about it. Those that are born with any special skills to write or tell outstanding stories or display impeccable reporting ability for writing articles without exerting much effort are one in a million. Others like me have to learn this skill from ground up. This is purely because I wanted to explore new horizons of the unknown creative territories hidden in my mind, and to push the limits of my writing emotional resources to power up those who need inspiration to live on. On the other hand, one cannot dismiss the fact that everyone has some latent kind of a skill greater than others. For example, if you are not good at sports, running a relay or a marathon, maybe you are good at writing and reporting an incident in the form of a storybook. Whereas, on the overall scale of things, those with basic literacy, reading and writing abilities can improve it to become masters of the craft after years of experience and practice within their chosen discipline. Now, motivation to write or speak your mind is a right and not a privilege. I think every individual who has an opinion or a story to tell can become a trained author or a professional writer. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect, unquote. The more you write, the better you become. The motivation to express an opinion or tell a story will vary from person to person depending on their edge, willpower, and personal drive to let it come to the forefront of public knowledge. This edge and drive can be inspired by an attempt to preserve or express the following ideals, namely, to leave a legacy behind your name, that is the importance of your family tree. The second one is the real story of your life's purpose, maybe your inspiring biography of rags to riches. And then third example, to teach the world something you know that they don't, meaning you inform and impart knowledge to people, and everyone is becoming an important resource to the other. Let us individually explore these three minefields and the implication each one can do to alter the course of your destiny, should you decide to become a writer or pursue it as a career. I do it to exploit my interest of social injustice and the overall society's ignorance to keep silent where common sense should prevail. That's why I write, and I will continue to do it, so that the new generation can find and learn something about our timeline and history. You can call it writing to leave a legacy behind, my name as you know it, without hiding behind a pseudonym to cover up my identity. The first one is, let's look at the reason one, leaving your legacy behind your name. What's in a name, sort of? Every nation or tribe in the history of the world or mankind has left some kind of a mark or written down knowledge of wisdom and clues to inform us of their previous existence and how they lived their lives. How we prosper and grow as people is determined by writers and authors of our times to capture history and to preserve this knowledge for future generations to learn from. The new generation will learn this from anthropology, archaeology, religion, and spiritual sciences and other teachings. Past writers and historians were passionate and able to preserve their knowledge through books and tablets. Moses had the 10 Commandments written on 2 tablets, and Muhammad had the Quran. Tao by Lao Tzu, it's a Chinese author, philosopher. The Old and the New Testament by various writers, and so on. The big question for you and I is why we shouldn't take the lead to contribute or start this self-preservation process to rewrite our personal stories and history from our own current point of views. Your name has weight and meaning, therefore, to assert your existence, you need to do something about it. Why not tell your own story or tale, like William Shakespeare, Mark Twain, or J.K. Rowling, Eskia Mphahlele, Maya Angelou, Chinua Achebe, Nadine Gordimer, Mongane Wallis Rute, Agatha Christie, or Steve Biko, to mention just a few. To assert your name and begin to teach the new generation who you really are is something that needs to be documented and told by you and not anyone else while you are still alive. You can't wait to be dead before you can initiate a project like this one. You owe it to yourself to do it while you are still alive. The mistake our forefathers failed to do was to pen down their family history, their experience and cultural values in a book form for us to use as a reference like the Bible, and pass on this knowledge to others, and to avoid us from distorting information or creating confusion through false assumptions and suppositions of the current fake news. Although they have passed on some knowledge about culture and tradition, these were lost in the diversion and were diluted with modern-day Western cultural values. If one looks at the traditional healers and the African medicine men and women, everything they do is passed down to them via practical training without any form of books to authenticate or test the integrity of their knowledge. The integrity leaves a lot to be desired. To restore the history of our current cultures and traditions, new writers, storytellers, and authors must commit to rewrite what is truthful in their own books. This way, your research and writing skills will come in handy to give the world a better perspective of the correct version of your story and its findings. This is also where our legacy as writers or authors will carve a unique path to restore truths from fake news. Anything on social media that is not supported by an author with reference from their book is fake news. That's one reason you should write your Facebook before you die, to clear misconception about you and the story you'll be telling, especially your obituary. The second reason to tell your story, to tell the real story of your life purpose, could be the reason why you should write your Facebook. Perhaps leaving behind a legacy to restore culture and tradition is not your cup of tea. It can be justified that writing your own biography is the second option in allowing you to become a writer. I started with poetry and prose because they were appealing to my writing style and preference at that time. My take on this topic, which is the second topic, tell the real story of your life's purpose, is, if you can appreciate my point of view, is that first-time writers find it easy to kickstart their writing projects by penning down their life story to test the waters. Everyone can have something to write about, to start a career or a hobby as an author. However, telling the world your story and all the challenges you have faced when you were growing up can make you an extremely wealthy or successful writer if you have an amazing story to tell, and how you tell it can become a game changer to your future. Adversity and misfortunes can come as blessings for most writers, where their stories inspire filmmakers to convert their book into a Hollywood movie screen blockbuster. But most true stories are hard to find. That's why creative writers are able to turn around a simple article from a newspaper to build on it to become a romantic novel or a scary horror movie, to say the least. Possibilities of writing something about you and your neighborhood lifestyle can be an interesting tale to tell the world, and you can be paid handsomely for it when your book sells out. That's why if you have anything to say, do not hasten and rush to your local newspaper or TV to spill the beans. Take time to apply your mind and pen it down as a book. Then self-publishing will become your best option to secure your ownership rights before it goes to the newspaper. After all, in South Africa, newspapers and TV don't pay you for your story, yet they make money from it indirectly without you knowing. The reason for this is because you don't have a representative to secure the copyright of your story. In my course, I teach students how this can be done to avoid financial loss or exploitation of your material by public domain hijackers. In the UK and the USA, your story could be worth millions of dollars if the genre you choose to write about has the potential to convert it into a movie script. Your real treasure might lie behind your biography, which is the best choice for first-time writers and authors. This is the second major reason you should write your first book before you die. Last but not least, the third reason is teach the world something you know that they don't. Every person knows something better that they can teach and share with the world through the world of books. Everyone is unique and has a special gifts and talents. How will you know which one is prominent until you try them all? However, writing is just the beginning of your journey. This can be a skill in cooking, growing seeds in the garden, how to type a business report, how to look after children, how to learn or teach Zulu or an African language to foreigners, for example, and many other things that your talent can bring to the table. Basically, few, if any, persons can have an excuse for not knowing anything other than their God-given talent or skill to teach other people while they make money from it. Teaching people through writing what you know is what the world needs, and there is technology to do just that. However, writing your first book can become more profitable via books and ebooks, software and skills courses. You have to be good at something to be called the go-to guy in your line of expertise or subject matter expert. This cannot be bought from any shop counter You earn it through hard work, persistence, and dedication. Being lazy is not an excuse for not trying out a new skill in your life. You have to take the risk and rise to the challenge before you can justify your failure. Hard copy books are still popular mainstream media teaching and learning tools in schools. Libraries still thrive on good supply of hard copy books of any kind. Although digital books occupy major market needs in the USA, UK and Europe, Africa and South Africa especially is way behind times in exporting their talent and book publication knowledge to reach the international markets. Libraries around the world are the powerhouses of knowledge. Even though technology is driving demand for digital access to content and knowledge distribution via the internet, the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. and the city of Johannesburg are my favorite libraries that have inspired my hobby as a writer. You must visit them and see what they look like. My concern with the African continent and the African people in particular, South Africa, is their dying interest of bringing their knowledge and talent by writing books to share that information with the world. There is always a need to write children's books. Turning your misfortunes into writing motivational books and courses is another untapped field in the African continent and the local education system. People will always need a savior, religiously speaking. This is almost the last part of this, summarizing the reasons why you should write your first book before you die. Local South African religious fraternity has not caught up with the trend of encouraging their congregations to read more than one of the traditional scriptures. Rather, they have left money on the table by ignoring their own ability to write on behalf of their churches and communities. They have left this open to abuse by social media frenzy that has nothing to do with their scriptures in question, to liberate these souls from ignorance and retaining their teachings. Well, a well-written and researched book or biography or novel or technical books have a place in our education system and personal development schemes. We therefore need more student learners like you to replace the older retired generation of authors with new material to replenish our minds and hunger for knowledge. That's why your learning curve or a new acquired writing skill can be a lifesaver to every community that constantly seeks information your book will be able to deliver. This is your third reason why you should write your first book before you die. If you want more information about this, just go to www.isaac-konjelwayo.com. 3 reasons why you should write your first book before you die. Thank you again for watching this video. If you can, I'll appreciate sharing this information with your friends or colleagues. And thumbs up. Thank you very much for listening.